Welcome to another edition of Math Snacks. Today we're going to talk about multiplication of integers with Miss Glovely and Miss Wonderful.
Well, Miss Wonderful, I hear you're a little confused about those rules on integer multiplication.
I am. I keep trying to go over and over in my head, but addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, so many rules to remember.
And again, I think it goes back to the fact that we just learn rules. We don't really know why they work. So we're going to go back to your favorite manipulatives and try some problems again today. Okay, we're going to start with that very simple problem that we like to do. And we're going to multiply 2 times 3 and represent that with a concrete manipulative.
Okay, that means I have 2 groups of 3. So here's one group of 3, and here's another group of 3. So my answer is 6.
And I noticed that as you were using those manipulatives, since you were multiplying with 2 groups, you were putting on the 2 groups, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So, we used that same term when we were adding integers. We're going to use it for multiplication as well. When we have a positive value here that we're starting with, we're going to put on those groups.
Would it be fair for me to think of this also as adding, because I put on 2 groups of 3, as repeated addition as 3 plus 3 got me to 6?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay, let's try another one. Again, we're going to start with a positive value, which is going to mean to put on, but this time I want you to put on 2 groups of negative 3.
Okay, I'm going to use the red because you told me about red meaning you're in the hole, 3, and accountants used to use that. So I'm going to put on 2 groups of negative 3, or add negative 3 and a negative 3, and I end up with, this time, this is equal to a negative 6.
Okay, so in both of those problems, we were putting on positive groups of 3 and a positive group of negative 3, or putting on 2 groups of negative 3. Okay? Now, we're going to change.
We're going to keep getting harder, aren't we?
I like to do that
you
to you.
Always do that
make
to
it
me.
a little harder each time. So this next time, look what we're going to start out with. And if when we started with the positive value, meaning put on, I know that you're smart enough to figure out when that negative sign is there, it means
instead of putting on, I'm going to take off.
You are exactly right. So let's
Okay.
leave that out there to remind you.
Okay,
Now,
I'm going to take this out of the way though.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're going to take off 2
groups
of 3. But we have a problem.
I don't have anything to take off.
You don't have anything to take off. So
I can't take off one group of 3.
That's correct. Not right now.
Okay.
But if we go back to those same things that we did when we were doing addition and subtraction of integers, how can we get a value on our mat that's not there and they don't tell us to put on there?
I know if I add a red and a black, which would be a positive and a negative, that's like adding nothing.
That's correct.
It's like 0.
Okay.
So if I need to be able to take off 2 groups of 3 black ones, then I need to be able to have something to take off.
Right.
Well, there I have 1 group of 3.
That's correct. So keep going.
So now I'm going to add another group of 0 or 3 because I want to take those things off.
That's right. And we need 1 more set.
So now take off 2 groups of positive 3.
That's right.
So there's 1 group, and there's another group,
And your answer is?
a negative 6 again.
You're right.
That's why they always say when you multiply and the signs are different, it's always a negative. But I never understood it before.
Okay, let's try one last one.
I thought that was the hardest one.
Nope. Always got to have 1 more. This time, we're starting out with that negative value again, so we're staying with this take off. But next time we're going to take off negative values. Ooh, I bet you know how to do it.
I'm going to take off 2 groups of -3 that aren't there.
That's right.
So I've got to add my one of each. So I'm going to take off 2 groups of -3. So I've got to get them on there first, even though that's still nothing. Oh, this looks a lot like the last one I did.
It does.
Except this time, I'm taking off the 2 groups of the negative, which is my red color. There's one group. And there that group goes. And now I'm left with the 6 positives.
And now your rule that you learned a long time ago that a negative times a negative is a
positive
makes sense.
Cool.
And that's really all there is to the rules of integer multiplication. We had an example of normal multiplication with whole numbers like you're used to, putting on 2 groups of +3. And we had putting on 2 groups of -3. And then we had taking off 2 groups of +3 and taking off 2 groups of -3. And you got all your answers correct.
That's because I had such a great teacher, Miss Glovely.
Thank you, Miss Wonderful.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you for a job well done, Miss Glovely.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us in another session of Math Snacks.